Hi, do you want to learn the secret to longevity and unlimited energy every day? Stay tuned as I go through step number 3 of the Forever Runner method. Hi, Sherpaherb here. I'm an online running coach for runners over 50 and in their 60s. And I'm also the founder of the Forever Runner method. So in this video, I'm going to go through step number 3 of the Forever Runner method, which is called flex. So the flex step follows step number 2, which was the reset. And that's where uh, we go through a 2-week elimination diet to switch your body over to be a fat burner. And I'll put a link above to step number 2 in case you haven't seen that. But after going through that 2 weeks with this fairly strict elimination diet, we need to move on. And flex is about 2 different things: what to eat and when to eat. So on the what, when you went through the 2-week elimination diet, you probably noticed a lot of good changes to your body and how you function during the day. And the idea is, if there's a couple of foods that you're kind of missing, is now's the time where you can kind of add a couple of those in one at a time and just see if you can still function without getting any adverse symptoms coming back again. And the diet, the diet that I propose isn't very extreme. It's basically your standard paleo type diet, low carb, high fat, but living in the carb range of 50 to 150 grams. And so it isn't an extreme keto type diet that I suggest, because there's other ways to do that, which we'll talk about here later. But the idea is to just continue on with good oils, whole foods, cut the processed foods out, the sugar and the grains, and maintain a healthy eating habit from now on, following those guidelines. Now, the when part of the flex has to do when you eat. And I was a grazer most of the time. You know, I'd eat breakfast and then have a mid-morning snack at 10, then I'd have lunch, then an afternoon snack, then dinner, and then maybe even something later on in the evening. But what we want to do is compress the eating window, because there's a lot of really good benefits from doing that. So it's called intermittent fasting, is what I'm going to talk about right now. And I'll go through the 3 steps to get going for that. But before I go through that, why do we want to fast? Well, basically, again, it's one of those default settings in our body, and our ancestors for thousands of years never had a steady stream of food every day. So the human body is well adapted to eating sporadically and having long lengths of time where we're not eating food. And that's where switching over to being a fat burner gets you through that. But for you right now, the main benefit you want to do this is, one, it triggers growth hormone, and this is the anti-aging hormone. It makes a dramatic impact on your inflammation levels and such. So you want to boost that any way you can, and this is the natural way to do it. This also helps suppress insulin resistance. So that's what's harming your fat burning capabilities. And then the third thing that it does is it triggers your liver to produce ketones. And this is actually a better source of ketones than going on a ketone diet. So you can have a less restrictive diet, plus get the benefits of ketones just by doing intermittent fasting. So when I got started with this, and I got into the low carb, high fat diet and started being a fat burner, I wasn't really thinking of this intermittent fasting thing because I really like breakfast. You know, breakfast is one of my favorite meals every morning, and I have several that, you know, I relied on, and I did switch things up a little bit. One of my favorites started to be a green smoothie that I'd do in the morning, and basically what happened is I'd make this green smoothie, chug it down, and then head off to work. Well, one time I made my smoothie and then didn't have time to eat it, so I took it to work and put it in the fridge. Well, of course, when I got to work, with it sitting in the fridge, I kind of forgot about it till about 10 o'clock, and then I went, oh, you know, I should eat my smoothie. And I had basically done a fast because the last time I ate was around 6 the previous day, and without even having any hunger pains or anything, I did a fast. And what I found was I wasn't really hungry in the mornings. I just enjoyed breakfast. So what I got into the habit of doing is just making my smoothie in the morning and taking it to work and eating it sometime between 10 o'clock and noon. And that worked out really well. And then if I was home, I'd generally not make a breakfast until later on in the morning, or just skip it altogether. So breakfast is this kind of mindset thing that been drilled into us, you know, all of our lives. So what actually happens when you wake up in the morning, you get a little boost of the hormone cortisol, and you know it'll give you a little twinge of hunger, but that quickly goes away. So if you just bypass that, don't worry about it, you won't actually get hungry till later on in the day, and it'll be true hunger where your body's giving you signals, hey, I really do need to eat something, then that's the time you should eat. So it's interesting. That's why I have people go through the reset process first to become fat adapted, because going into intermittent fasting cold turkey is kind of tough to do if you're hungry all the time. So yeah, I was going to talk about the 3 steps. So it's actually pretty simple. The first thing is just to cut out the snacks between meals. So, you know, eat your normal 3 meals a day, but don't eat snacks in between. And if you're adding enough good fats to your meals, you shouldn't have those hunger spikes in between meals, because that's generally caused by the carbohydrate cycle and insulin causing those hunger pains. And then after that, what you want to do is move, reduce that eating window from if you normally finish your last meal around 6 or 7 o'clock at night, then you want to increase the time before you actually eat again in the morning. So instead of eating at 6 or 7 in the morning, you'll want to eat at 8 or 9 o'clock or even 10 o'clock in the morning. And you want to get to like a 16-hour window of not eating. And then you'll that's where you'll start getting the benefits of fasting. So you don't have to do this every day. You can start off 2 or 3 times a week, but what you'll find once you start getting into this is you'll just naturally not be hungry sometimes, and just go with the flow. And as long as you're doing this fasting at least 2 or 3 times a week, you should be fine. And then the third step is to actually do a more extended fast occasionally, and that's where you would go from 6 o'clock at night and maybe not till noon or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or even to the following dinner, where it's actually a 24-hour fast. So these are things you have plenty of time to do, but if you get started on the intermittent fasting right away, you'll be surprised with the energy you have during the day, the clarity you have in your thinking because of the ketones providing the energy for your brain instead of carbs. And you'll also be free from having food manage your day. You will be more in control of your day. So that's the 3 steps for fasting. So to go over it again, for step number 3, which is the flex, what we want to do is 1, for what we eat. We want to stick with a paleo type diet, high fat, low carb type diet, but not go to the extremes. Just kind of stay in the middle, so it's sustainable and it gives you more options. And then the other step is is to incorporate some intermittent fasting into your routine, and at least 3 times a week is a good way to start. So that's it for step number 3. We'll do step number 4 in the next video, and it's called jog. So if you like the series, please hit the subscribe button. You can catch the other videos in the series to catch up, but if you subscribe, then you'll be able to catch the next. So like I said, the next one will be called jog, and it's number 4 out of 9. So see you then.